Welcome to Steve's Place. We're looking good for our pre-Memorial Day show here, and today got a lot of things to cover. First of all, I want to introduce you to I lost my dearest friend this week. His name is Bones. Bones, this is him here, was a rescue dog. He was brought to us by a neighbor who found him running around, and the people at the apartment said we could keep him, and then when it charges for the extra uh, money, that they normally charge you to keep things, if we kept it because they didn't want to take another dog down to the um, boneyard there just to get killed. But Bones, when we got him, was all skin and bones, and we brought him back to health and everything, and he's been my pretty much a lifelong companion here or the last year or so. Whenever we go anywhere, he'd be there. You know, first thought it was a puppy, but then we got to look at his teeth, and you can tell by his teeth, that he's long past the puppy stage. That's him in our truck there. He loved riding the truck, and if he had half a chance, he'd probably want to drive it. And this here's him just laying around thinking about things, and contemplating the world. I never have another dog as good as this. Can't say that. God will put him in. Anyway, let me give you our comments. We put out our hotline. That's the call hotline if you want to call in later on. But anyway, right now I'm still a little bit bummed out because, like I say, it's no fun losing your best friend. And anyway, moving on. Thanks to Bones, I was able to focus on and get the conference ready for this year. This year, it'll be August 6th to 10th. It's going to be quite the show. We have a lot of speakers. I put the go to TeslaTech.info. You could bring up the program that we have. I'm expecting a large turnout this year. And prompt as we've had it there before. This year they promised to make some changes, like they're going to be changing the menu every morning to bring it up to speed. Okay. Then I also got to mention last year's videos are still available on HowTube. Just go to our website and you click on that banner there, and it'll take you to the HowTube page. And this will be what the video on demand looks like. Let me get our the QR will be to our website, TeslaTech.info. But the video are still available starting this month. If you are a member of YouTube, of our YouTube channel, which is the $9.99 month membership, we will be placing 2 videos from last year up there every month, one every other week, And so you can either get them all right now, watch them for the $99, or you can just wait and see them for the $9.99 with commercials. Anyway, this year, let's see. I don't have this year. If you go to our sheets, at TeslaTech.info, let me see if I can bring that up. New window. Okay, this will be our program for next year. This is what it looks like. You can find this online. We'll be mailing it out soon. So make sure that we have your address here so that you get a copy of it. We have quite a few speakers, well over 20 speakers or more. So, so I expect you all should have a good time if you come. The big news here is on Saturday night, we are going to have Dr. Wee Ping Yu. Dr. Wee Ping Yu will be showing up at our conference with Terrence Howard. And they'll be talking about the theory of everything and this paradigm shift. This is quite a coup. Terrence Howard was on Joe Rogan, I believe, last year and got over 1 million hits. So he's our very special guest that we're going to have on with Dr. Yu on Saturday night. You don't want to miss it. You know, this conference, this is an unannounced special feature speaker here, and we just got that squared away in the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to having them there, and I expect a good turnout. If any of you like to call in on our show is at the bottom of the line, and it's also in the comments. You can roll back to the comments. And I'm very thrilled, be able to have this thing go to press by Memorial Day. It's a major event. Putting together the schedule is 90% of the work I'm doing a conference. Everything else is pretty much cut and dried and done by other people. And if you have the right people working and right people helping you, this stuff moves along pretty fast. Anyway, on Wednesday night, okay, we are going to have Ilana Friedland. I don't know how Ilana was on here the other night. I thought she did a great job of showing everything. She covers a lot of what you see happening here. For the past, actually, my entire existence has been geared towards fighting the forces that she talks about, and the geoengineering that's going on, starting with the spraying of our atmosphere. In the 1950s and the 1960s, they would spray our atmosphere to find out how fast it would take to disperse, chemical agents and everything. We also took and set off nuclear bombs. There were so many bombs set off in Nevada, and it was a regular schedule that Las Vegas considered them a tourist attraction, and they'd post the times that they would be doing these explosions and that, and then you could see them on the horizon there, 100 miles away. Of course, all that debris got thrown up in the air and everything, and kind of went to the northwest there, because like the wind blows from the southwest to the northeast there, so it was kind of blowing in an easterly direction there, and it contaminated a lot of people, and I'm sure that we're suffering a lot of medical issues because of that. The other things they've done is like HARP, it's all tied in together. HARP, the crisscrossing with the atmosphere, with the chemtrails, but not all trails are chemtrails. Some are just simply contrails. That's where the water vapor from the plane becomes visible in the upper atmosphere. But scalar wave technology, Tom Brennan was big on it when he was still alive, and he would show like the patterns that you see in the sky that were also crisscrossed, and that was produced by electromagnetic uh, interference patterns. And then there's a record channel. I can't remember the guy's name. I had the book, but he was keeping track of all these little incidents that were occurring. And one of the things you notice is that wherever you have a GWIN station, a GWIN is ground wave emergency network, which the United States designed to use in case of a nuclear attack. Where those GWIN stations were, the weather would be intensified. And because the weather was intensified, that led to the belief, that, hey, we can control the weather. And Tesla observed this back when he had his big machine in Colorado Springs, that when he turned that on, moisture would appear on it and everything. And so they were looking at controlling the weather through electromagnetic means, which led to HAARP. And from HAARP, it just got better. And there's a lot of ionosphere bursts that are interfering with our upper atmosphere. And all this is covered by Elena. I don't agree with everything she says, but then I don't agree with everything any of these speakers say. There's issues. And then we will also on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, if you sign up for it, you get it free this week, will be the workshop, on do-it-yourself drone construction. We'll have kits available that you can purchase right there, and you'll be able to go home with an operational drone and terrorize the neighbors with it. Our workshop. The workshop starts at 1 p.m. We'd like to have you all there. I think you all have a great time putting these together. Bring your kids. Kids are free. I mean, gee, this conference is a great family event, and outside of all the stuff you're going to have at the expo, because we have all this equipment that people can learn more about, and these people will be more than happy to show you the ins and outs of all their equipment. So bring your kids. This will be one of a very affordable vacation. You come there and learn. Your kids will come there and learn. They're going to learn stuff that isn't normally taught in school directly, although a lot of the stuff that they'll learn at the conference, they'll see it reflected in what is taught in the classroom. So it's a good adjunct, to a good education, and it will also help foster independent thinking. Our rooms at the conference are $119 this year. I tried to get them down further, but to no avail. That's one of the reasons it took me a long time to get this thing set up. Is get the rates that we got. So it starts at $119, and it's for 1 to 2 people. Get signed up for that as soon as possible. These rates are there for a limited time. They're supposed to expire on July 15th. But like I say, you can't get it signed up too early. And at the hotel, those rooms are great rooms. They have 2 swimming pools at the hotel. The amenities, well, I would have never given it much thought before this year, but they got free parking there. And if any of you have been to like Vegas or Los Angeles these days, that's a pretty big deal, because a lot of places want to charge you for parking. There it's free. They do have a guard that kind of roams the parking lot, so but I still advise to lock things up. Free high-speed internet, free breakfast. We have a breakfast buffet every morning, runs from I believe it's 6 to 9. You can take, if you're running late, you just go through the line, get your plate, and bring it on into the conference area. were set up classroom style, so you'll be able to look at these. You'll be able to look at the speaker and eat at the same time. So uh, then on okay, and then on Wednesday night we also after Ilana gets done, Bernard Conklin would be there with his rediscovering lost ancient sciences and alchemy, and Bernie is has quite the collection of ancient apparatus you find, and he's constantly working from the ancient texts, in particular Sir Isaac Newton's alchemy books that he had, and a lot of people didn't even know that Sir Isaac Newton was in the alchemy, let alone having a book out on it. And he has 7 transmutational color states for metal elements. And Bernard has been working on replicating this work. You know, the other evening, on Thursday evening, we're going to have Larry Davenport there. Now, Larry is one of the top authorities on T. Townsend Brown out there. And one of the things that he's done is replicated the apparatus and flame jet generator. The flame jet generator will produce electricity from the flame itself. Then we have Paul Harris on Friday night introducing the Therify and the Quantify, which will take and use plasma waves for healing in that. One is, I think, for like a personal thing for you around you, and the other one, the Quantify, is for the whole room. So it should be quite the experience. I think get a kick out. You will have a huge exhibit out there. You sit and you can and check this stuff out. Joe Blatt will be there with his laser pens, that does a lot of healing there, and you can test them out. People can get healed within minutes of using his stuff. And then George Weissman is there with the AquaCure, the new improved AquaCure. And he's working on making deuterium depleted water from this, using this. And we'll see how that works, because deuterium depleted water is very expensive. But this could be an inexpensive way to produce it. And then we have Phil Wilson there with the far infrared saunas there. I have one of these right next to my bed. And because I use it so faithfully, it's probably one of the reasons I went in the hospital for influenza. It wasn't as severe as it could have been, because every time I went to get the chills, I'd hop into that thing and get my core energy built back up. And then along with the core energy, you got the infrared effect off on you, and you got a lot of healing that way too. And so that's just in one day. I mean, there's quite a lot of stuff to digest here. And then we in the afternoon, we're going to go with Lucius, and he's doing the magnetic universe there, and how magnetics will help us, and is actually will probably be the key to one of our future here. Let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, then we have Mike Gamble. Mike's been there a couple of years. This is a culmination of the 6 past years he's been working on the Tesla car and the resonant electric motor that Tesla probably had and was demonstrating in Buffalo, New York, before he was sold it to you see what was his company, Westinghouse. And then Westinghouse had probably deep sixed it, but Westinghouse paid his bills for the rest of his life. So that's what we think he used to get it, was the electric motor. And then one of the most important discoveries of all times right now is Proxima Centauri b. It's the closest star system, Proxima Centauri, and there they have found a planet which is transmitting narrowband radio signals from there. This could be a sister star system with an actual technological civilization that's advanced enough to transmit, And they've only been able to find this because of the James Webb Space Telescope. And of course, they may be sending drones down here right now. They may be looking at us, because we're sitting here like a big light bulb here flashing out there, sending all these radio waves out there for anybody and the brother to pick up, And so we may have gotten their attention, and that could be the drones that we're seeing here. And of course, for us, so we would be remiss if you didn't demonstrate some electrical gravitational equipment at the conference. So, looking forward to that. Then we have a lot of water stuff coming on Friday. We have these. Dr. Harolix is going to be there with all of his water and ion cyclotron experiments. Randy Hatton will be there demonstrating how you can program water, use water as a programmer liquid crystal, and create a thing called full spectrum water, which has all the different frequencies of magnetism, paramagnetism, scalar waves, and light, and transform this into full spectrum water. He'll be there to demonstrate that, and he'll have a booth out there demonstrating it as well. And then Dr. Pollock will be here. I have seen and had seen referred to time and time again the fourth phase of water. And Joe Pollock, the inventor, discoverer himself, will be here at the conference to demonstrate that technology and to explain it and present the evidence for it. And also reveal to us what the future holds with us with respect to that discovery. And on Friday afternoon, we're going to be delving into the dark arts here for many of physicists and that. We'll be exploring the world of radionics. Now, radionics is the belief, that is the argument for action at a distance. And that means, like, when I do an action here, a response will be a series response at the target. And it'd be dowsing would be one aspect of this. Another aspect would be you take a box, an anonymous box. You take a box, you put a picture of a field in it, and you throw a fertilizer, and the field would respond to that. That's one concept of it, and that's where people go woo woo, And the question is that real or is it not? Now, a lot of you have been up to my website and you've looked on through a lot of the videos from Global Sciences, and they had people coming in from Global Sciences who built stuff like antennas and that to actually carry out the scalar resonance experiments and change the environment through radionics. And here we have two people coming to the conference. One is Don Paris, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he'll be bringing a full-blown kit, to all of his equipment and demonstrate it. And then we'll have another experimenter in radionics, and that will be Stephen Moore. And Stephen Moore is from Albuquerque, and he goes out and he performs remediation on a lot of places that need it, using the scalar technology and the action at distance technology. Okay, then we have our expo will be going on from Wednesday at 8 in the morning until Sunday in the afternoon. I keep my bookstore open until people stop handing me money. As long as they're handing me money, I'll keep that bookstore open for you. But generally, it runs to about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So it's a great chance to go in and check out a lot of books, pick up a lot of equipment, test some of the stuff out, just see and hear what these people have to say. We have a lot of extraordinary claims out there, and extraordinary claims demands extraordinary proof. Well, here's the proof. Come here and check these out. Now, you can't be out there bad-mouthing these people if you don't come and look and see for yourself exactly what they're talking about. Now, if the stuff don't work, well, it don't work, and you can call them on it. But if it does work, well, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Saturday's a big day. We have a lot of big speakers here. We kick the day off with Jeff Hayes with Origins. Everything really got kicked off with Tesla. And Tesla had well over 100 original U.S. patents on basic technology. Some of the stuff we haven't begun to touch, and he unleashed that. He came to a zenith in Colorado Springs, and that's the picture that you see there. In Colorado Springs, he had a lab, and he did a lot of high voltage, high altitude experiments with electricity, and was able to transmit power around the world. He transmitted, he thought he was receiving signals from Mars at one point, because he was receiving a mysterious signal, and he's the only person with a transmitter on the planet. So who knows where that signal was coming from? But anyway, they used that to try to destroy and poo-poo his work, because every one of Tesla's inventions literally demolished the status quo and was a whole new industry in and of itself. And some of the stuff, like the 60 hertz system that he developed, was only supposed to be temporary. But you know how corporations are, they like to get their return on investment, and so they prevented him from taking and moving forward with the wireless work, even though Morgan did at first, but it's because he didn't realize the implications that was going to come from it. But everything, radio, robotics, electrotherapy, AI, drones, these are just a few areas. Medicine, he worked at Darsenval, it's just incredible, the breadth of Tesla's work, and Jeff Hayes is just the person to present that. And then we have Lynn Wainfin, and she's coming through, and she brings out a point, even though we're more interconnected with electronic devices than ever before in the history of mankind. I mean, you could talk to literally people. Well, look at me, I'm talking to you tonight, and you can see people instantaneously, but yet we don't have that real interpersonal connection that we used to have. And she's talking about how to develop a personal resonance and maybe bring that back, somehow I'm encouraging all of you to come to the conference if you could possibly make it. Like I say, you just can't beat that face-to-face, press the flesh results you had to get the conference. And then to wrap the morning up, Paul Feynman, who was putting together the drone workshops, is going to come back and show you how to do your own homegrown AI and how you could train your own AI system and what it takes. Personally, I'm anti-AI myself. I'm a John Connor fan. For those of you who don't know, he's the one who fought the Terminator. And anyway, how can you find him if you don't know what it's all about? So I encourage you all to come and check that out. Then in the afternoon, we shift gears. We're going into plasmoids and Zero Point Energy with Maury King and Thorsten Ludwig. And it's going to be all tied together that afternoon with Bob Grenier and leveraging the extraordinary wheelwork of low energy nuclear reactions. That's going to be quite the session. I'm looking forward to it. And then following that evening, following that, Dr. Yu and Terrence Howard will come in with a theory of everything and tie everything together. Now Sunday is quite an eclectic collection here. First of all, we're going into water positive gardening, and what this is, and it's never really brought out clearly anywhere, is that there is a secondary water cycle. We all see the primary water cycle with the rain, the evaporation, we all see that. But what this water positive gardening is the underlying microbial water cycle that is at the base of our forest. You see how these people want to say, you need to rake all those leaves out of the forest, keep the forest, from burning up. Well, the flip side of that is when you do that, you're taking away the forest's future, because what that does is you have microbes rotting all those leaves and causing it has its own little water cycle. It actually creates the water from the sewer gas and the hydrogen there, and providing the moisture that it can't get during the dry spells. So this is a very unique and very worthwhile session to check into water positive gardening, and it also makes a point as why we just can't go in and rake it and get rid of all the underbrush. And then we have the C60 Bucky water. You all heard of the easy water, which we're going to hear earlier in the week from Gerald Pollock. But now you're coming in for a case for the fourth phase of matter, and why that's going to be important. It's going to set off a whole new technology based on nanocarbons and with new chemistries that are going to be totally unyoked and have a new model to work with. And finally, we'll end it with the 300 solutions with Centurgics. And when Tesla was doing his inventing, he could visualize what he was working with. And what he would visualize is the device, the construction of the device, and have it actually running, and determine as to where he could take and run it, what wouldn't work, what did work. It was almost like he did everything in his head, and he was very famous for it. And I kind of believe in this Centurgic stuff too, because there's a lot of times when I'm working on an engineering problem, I can't figure it out. I go and I sleep, and meanwhile my subconscious gets working on it, and who knows where the subconscious extends out to. And that's the whole basis for the Centurgics, is the interactions. Okay, the interaction of the neurons and everything, and our quantum field, and how it all ties all together. So, like I said, this is going to be quite the conference. I'm looking forward to the conference. I don't think we could have packed very much more into this thing, and we still have some things that we're developing. Like we may have like a stop sharing. Okay. Okay, I stopped sharing. And one of the things we may, is we're looking at getting some extra books in, so we can maybe have some of the authors there to do a signing in that. Um, we're going to try to get a for lunch. Crown Plaza is great. We got a great rate. For $119 for 2 meals. You know, so that's a night, and that includes breakfast. So $119 is a bargain. And at night, I will always have something there. We're going to either have chicken or taco. We'll have something, every night. So the only thing you got to worry about is at noon. And what we're working on with the hotel is maybe get a grab and go bar going, or some kind of a lunch thing, which is going to be cheap. Well, inexpensive is the word I like to use. And with that, I think it's going to work out pretty good. So if anyone wants to come and talk, we have our call hotline there. If you go to that link there, they'll be able to come on stage here and say a few words. Or if you have something to say in the comments, the comments are open right now too. This year has been a very rough year so far, but I have a lot of hope. Now that I got the program done, I'll be working on getting the advertising out for it. So it will look kind of like we'll be having the oh man, my mind's gone. Okay, in addition to the in-person thing, we really want people to come in person. You come in person, you sign up right now and get 30% off the price, plus a free workshop, and that's a bargain. You bring a second person, we'll give you an extra 5%. So instead of 30% off, be 35%. So I encourage you to come, bring a wife, bring your kids. Kids are free, We're trying to get young people involved in this. The only way we're going to do it is make it so they can come. And the workshop alone would be worth that, for them. Can you imagine having your son or daughter come and build their own drone? And just think, they can take like aerial pictures of your house and that. You go to a family events, and you can, fly those things. You can take pictures, of everybody, from the air. I was in church today, and they do a lot of stuff with their aerial stuff, as far as getting pictures thrown on the screen and that. There's a lot you can do, with this, and a lot you can learn. This is the future, Let's face it, drones are the future. We're not going to get around it. The AI, they're going to be in our future. What we have to do is we have to learn more about it so that we become the masters and not the slaves, Unfortunately, I think there's some people who want to make humans into slaves again. And we're against that, Knowledge is power. And the only way you can get knowledge is to seek it out yourself, because it just don't pop in there, So if you want to be part of the future, come to the conference, learn what you're not going to find out elsewhere. There's only one other place I could think that would be comparable, would be in Chicago in July at the Psychotronics Conference, And this is my shout out to them. Get a chance to, go to them. I'll put some more information out on that later on this week. Okay, and then on a separate note, okay, everyone needs to learn about and set up some Mesh-tastic digital mesh radio nodes. It's huge. Not quite sure what that is. Mesh-tastic. Not quite sure what he means by that. I know one time before there was the internet, we had ham radio, and ham radio would have packet radio. And long before there was internet, we'd be able to communicate with people all over the world, including Russia, to our ham radio set that we had set up at the museum. Um, like I say, you gotta be on top of this stuff. Okay, let me get Bones up here. I like him. And like I said, I miss my friend. Oh, Bones, this is us going to the conference last year. Unfortunately, my truck's kind of beat up. You could tell by the ceiling there. It's kind of hanging down. Someday I'll get that replaced. So anyway, if Mr. Savage there can explain more about his Mishtastic, would really appreciate it. And the QR code that you see on the screen is for our website, TeslaTech.info. And you go there. I have the program as a download in that. Okay, here we go. Decentralized digital radio information transmission communication. Each node is around $30 to $40. Works with smartphone app. Okay, so I'm gonna take a step out here and assume that this would be kind of like a little portable, your own little private cell tower. That's the only thing I could think of. And it says, tuck tape fixes all. Fascinating. So yeah, that's interesting. I know on Nord Stream they have a thing. Okay, let's see what we got. There's Bernie.
Hello.
How's it going, Bernie?
Good. How are you? Did you get my bio, and was it good enough?
Yeah, got it done.
Perfect.
And so I had to read between the lines of some stuff, but I think you'll be okay. Okay, here's some more information. Okay, on the smartphone, on this Meshtastic or whatever. 915 megahertz, about 6 inches in size. Pick your size antenna that uses SMA connection and tune to that frequency. So I guess this is how you can have your own little private cellular radio here network. What it sounds like.
That's fascinating. I like the sounds of that.
Yeah. And that'd be kind of interesting. I would imagine that you could probably use that and still use the cell phone in its regular mode, because it looks like it's just a smartphone app. So we're looking forward to seeing you at the conference.
I am super excited about the conference and everyone that you have scheduled, because they're all really related to my work, especially with Bob Grenier, with Maury B. King, is it? And Jared Polak. Each of them dealing with aspects of water, electrolysis, hydrogen, structured water, and various types of cold fusion that are possible within it that I have figured out.
Okay, here you go. Just more on that. Okay, so let's start here. 950 6 inch size, you tune that frequency. Yeah, Savage, you need to get a hold of me and maybe you can come on our show one of these days and talk more about this. Okay, you can bounce the message over a number of nodes to maximize transmission. I've connected to nodes 30 miles away. Huh. And then you have someone saying, hey, Bernie, Parity Research.
That's Mike with the League of Extraordinary Inventors that you were on with me a couple weeks back there. Good to see Mike.
Well, I hope you all come. If you can't come, I hope you can get on the live stream. We are looking for, if people have networks in that, you may want to consider becoming an affiliate, for our live stream distribution, which is turns into video on demand, and there's no right now the video on demand for last year is lifetime. I believe they're going to do the same thing this year. Yeah, and for those of you who don't want to spend the $99, you might consider spending $9 a month because I'm going to start placing last year's conferences at the rate of about one every other week on YouTube there for members only. So, okay. And yeah, but it's been a rough week, and I lost my dog, broke my heart.
I am sorry for the loss of Bones, Steve. It hurts the heart.
He was a rescue dog,
My
kind of.
condolences.
He was rescued from the fields next to us, the vacant lot. He was like running around the apartments here, starved. I mean, the guy was all bone, skin, and bones when we got us. We named him Bones, and and I don't know. Let me bring him up here if you don't mind. Yeah, does he have his collar on this one? The big thing with him is his collar. You know, you can't really see it, but we had a collar, and he loved that collar. You know, and when we had him cremated, we had him cremated with his collar on because that collar, well, that's his. It's his suit. Like that collar represented like he was part of our family. You know, and we take it off. He's very disturbed about it because when we found him, he didn't have a collar. That means that whoever had him took the collar off, okay, so they couldn't trace him back to them, and then they pushed him out. They pushed him out into nowhere land, to survive on his own. And I think they kicked him because there's some issues we had to deal with, you know. But I had him for about a year, and then I think he was poisoned here. It scared me, because they're putting poison around to kill the birds around here, and I gotta go complain. But these animals are, they put the poison on these little trays, for the birds to eat. Well, wind comes along and it just blows out all over the place for starters. So you're breathing it in. When it gets on the ground, the dogs, they sniff everything. You know how dogs are, And if it rains, it fills them up with water, and they got that liquid going all over the place. It's all poison. And when the birds do die, they're laying around, and it's in the environment. You can't get it out of the environment. I think that's what killed them. So anyway,
Tragic.
very tragic, and it's hard to find smart dogs. I mean, a really smart dog like him, and he looks like a puppy, but he wasn't a puppy. You could tell once you start looking at his teeth, he's a he's an old dog. You see, you can tell by his teeth, that's an old dog there, and his eyes, I think he might have been in a little bit of pain here because he, like I said, he has some problems. I think somebody kicked him when they let him out the door, I'll probably have another dog, I consider all dogs a blessing. And
the universe provides, and it's a dog's life, and you can rest easy knowing you gave old Bones the best possible life he could have had, and a whole new life from the original shanty owner, and that's what made him so special for you, for sure.
Well, what gets me, is I took him to the veterinarian a couple of times, but these vets, I mean, just to get like a simple X-ray, they want like $400 or $500, and or to do a simple urinalysis, it's insanity, and it's almost like the vets, well, they're just like a lot of these doctors, all they're interested in is money, in the commercial civilian world. Uh, that's one of the things I like about the VA. The VA, the focus is on saving the soldier, as opposed to making a buck. And we need to fight this privatization crap, because all you're doing there is you're taking and giving these corporations a free ride, because then all of a sudden it becomes not about taking care of the soldier, it becomes how rich you can make the owner, and so it corrupts
Right.
the government.
It's taking the care out of healthcare and just turning health into another racket. And it's crony capitalism all over again.
It's not even it's worse than capitalism. It's exploit. It's
Crony,
pure
crony capitalism. Crony
yeah,
capitalism, not real
you know,
capitalism.
and there's nothing that a private company can do that that the government can't do. Or you don't have to have the middleman. I mean, from anything that involves the imprisonment of a person, I believe should not be privatized. That needs to stay with the government. That's how come I'm against these private prisons and that. You know, because the government loses control of that person. And when you take the liberty of a person, that's a pretty heavy thing to do. Take someone's life like that.
Absolutely.
And therefore, it should not be a function of a private individual.
Fully agree.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm looking forward to the conference. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah.
More people are signing up now. And we're doing everything we can.
Have you announced the full lineup?
I just said, unfortunately, you weren't here for it. The whole.
Okay, I was listening, but I guess I missed that part. So I can speak about also Terrence coming.
Terrence Howard will be there.
Yeah, Howard, yeah. Perfect, because I've actually got a little presentation that involves him in regards to his number theories and a new geometric code is the best way for me to describe what I've figured out, and it directly ties to his work, and then everything that he's been talking about with the Walter Russell octave scales, and that's going to be pretty good. Good time.
Well, we'll have him, and we'll have Dr. Yu, and we'll call in the evening the theory of everything, and we're going to start it looks like 6:00. Yeah.
I have a few theories within the theory of everything that they might find interesting.
And just think, this is a one chance you might be able to sit down and talk to Terrence one-on-one with your theory. You won't get that anywhere else. You don't. And it's
exactly.
And it's hard to get a read on people through a screen. And I think screens make me look ugly anyway. So I'm not a telegenic person.
Fair enough. I feel that, and I've got this smile on my face because I know exactly what you're saying, and I look so forward to the opportunity. And the same with Moray, as well as Gerald and Bob Grenier there, and that I've got a picture up to show a couple pictures, if you don't mind, of just a couple things that are relevant to each of them.
Are you going to show them now?
Yeah, yeah, you don't mind.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Where are they at?
You just got to bring up share screen. It's at the bottom. I've got the window loaded.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, I think I see it. Okay.
If you click on it, it should come up. There we go. Okay, so this is some of my structured water, and you can see the ice cubes where it's literally freezing with bands of exclusion zones and of bubbles, and that my ionic waters, all of the ice freezes exactly with these different exclusion zones and field lines in them. And yes, Aurorian, I am presenting. I'm presenting on the Wednesday night, I believe. Correct, Steve?
Yeah, you'll be right after Ilana.
Nice. Oops. Okay, so here showing a little bit more of the ice cubes and these structured exclusion zones within them. And I would love Jared Polak with his Easy Water to see some of this and give a little bit of an explanation. And here you can see them in the ice cube trays, what they look like from above with these same field lines there. Okay, now the second set to show here is I'm going to have another photo to bring up, if you don't mind. There it is. To click share again. And this is, so I started putting litmus test papers into some of my reactions, and you can see I'm getting extreme alkaline reactions, and then the top there also showing some rather acidic reactions too, depending on certain variables within my electrolysis setups. And that the alkaline acidity is a key factor with these reactions, and a certain type of, it's essentially a phase shift of the the valence shells and bonding within particles and atoms that I've discovered and figured out with, and that one of the main base reactions that I've found and discovered and refined that I'll be working on putting together a patent for is the production of deuterium and tritium out of the extra, I guess, electron or photon particle, the energy packet particles that get transferred in these reactions, and then the leftover neutrons as well when splitting the water between the metals and the different charged states, and then the alkalinity and acidity of the water affecting these reactions and production rates. But I'm getting ahead of myself in trying to explain all of it in one, so I'll just leave it at that for now.
And you'll have this at the conference, right?
Yes, I'm putting together some presentations explaining all of it, and we'll be presenting it at the conference 100%. And we got one more up to show here. And I will be bringing my monoatomics, this one being monoatomic gold. That's a little bit of the gold color from the nano gold as the monoatomic gold is settling, and that it's the main reaction that I've discovered and engineered out of just a metal charge differential between atomic masses, where with no energy in, no electricity in, just the way I have metals set up within a sealed jar, I am able to produce electrolysis reactions, and that it's a consistent reaction I've engineered that lasts for over 6 months up to a year in these sealed conditions, and that it's producing atomic hydrogen a charge plus monoatomic elements out of the entire reaction. And it's a key part of electrical engineering of batteries and how electricity and water and phase shifts of ionic bonds work, and how nature works, and that water is the key to fusion and fission in how nature does it. And it's the exact opposites of what current academia is trying to do by literally needing the power of God or the power of a sun with the pressure, the heat, and everything compact in to try to get this fusion to break the bonds, where in fact all you need to do is be able to use nature, such as water, in breaking those bonds with no energy in, and then being able to manipulate those states and the reactions out of it. Absolutely, Rorian. Make sure you call me ahead of time. You got my number now. And Savage is asking for you to maybe post the link again. He would like to join and talk about what he was, the grid there. And here we have some pure monoatomic silver in this jar as it gathers and forms in these little plasmid clusters. Yep. And yeah, I guess that's a good little teaser for now.
Okay, Savage was looking for a link. There's the link. I think he wants to come up. So what are you doing?
Myself or what? Sorry?
Okay.
There we go. There he is.
Hello, sirs. How are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing.
Oh, good. You can hear me. So, yeah, this is something that literally everybody should be jumping on with. This is the little node. It's called a Heltec V3 Mesh-tastic node. And right now I have it plugged into this little guy here. It's a magnetic, thing you can put on top of your car. But you can also use, basically, you got any kind of wireless car that has these little antennas with the SMA connectors. This one will actually get you some pretty good distance. I can actually show you the map of my local area if you don't mind. Let me see if I can share my screen here. We'll do window. Entire screen. How about just entire screen? That'll do fine. Okay, so can you see this?
There we go.
Okay. So this is a map of Spokane, basically, and this is my node here. And just in the immediate area, these are all the other nodes that I can connect to on a given day of other, permanent nodes that are set up. But the crazy thing is when you zoom out, here I've got something in, Coeur d'Alene area, up here north in Deer Park, and way over here, these guys started popping up in the Tri-Cities area. So I mean, with just one node, you're able to connect to all these guys, and you have different messaging options. You can literally, pick them by name. So if I'm looking here at the different names of these guys, say like, this Fox guy is pretty good. I can go over here to the messaging side and find him. and choose to send him a message if I want. And maybe he'll get it. Maybe he's in range. Because these don't exactly connect all the time. They're more sporadic, but you have lots of different options. Like let me see, where's the long fast? There's like an open channel, and then you can also do encrypted channels as well. And then you can change the configuration like through this interface, either on your computer or on your phone. Yeah, like I said, there's all kinds of channels that you can personally configure to be encrypted or not, or be private or be public. And then it's just this really powerful thing. And it gets really crazy because if you have multiple people, how do I stop sharing this thing? Stop sharing. If you have multiple people that are on the same channel, and you all have phones that are connected that have GPS, or you have GPS units that are installed in these cases, you can see where each of those person is on a map in real time around you, and be contacting and talking with them through text on the phone app. So there's another application called ATAK, ATAK, and if it's really hard to configure, but it's a civilianized version of the military application, and it's kind of like team management organization for like squad tactics. So you can set waypoints, you can show people what route to take to get to a certain point. You can custom name those waypoints. You can say, danger here, or tell me the distance from here to target, so they can fire for effect or whatever. It's this stuff is like next level, and you can't stop the signal once you have them. Wow. And they're cheap as dirt. Like I said, I paid like I paid like $30 for the hardware for this. I printed out the case and just M3 screws, and like $12 for two of these long range antennas. That's it. And I live way up on the top of a hill, so I live like in the perfect spot.
Everyone
so I got
needs
one of these.
3 of them.
So, yeah. So that's not a cell phone then, huh?
It's not really a cell phone. It's just radio. So it's 915 megahertz, and it's digital radio. It's not operating any kind of cell phone bandwidth, and it's all. It can either be an open channel or it can be encrypted channels. Everything can be customized to your liking. And it's an open source project.
So the satellite, if the telephone networks go down and everyone has these, they can still technically use their phones with these to communicate.
Absolutely.
Yes. What you're saying.
Text only right now, but other data can be transmitted as well.
For what you're saying and describing, that's pretty awesome.
It's really dope. And even I think if you're close to a node, this little thing has like that little circle. If you're close enough to a node, it becomes a compass, and it'll show you how or what direction to go to find that other node that you're close to. So you can walk over to the other. So if it's one of your buddies who's lost somewhere maybe, and you're close enough to get their signal, it'll take you right to where they are.
So how much power does it put out? Like 1 watt?
It's not much for a watt. I'd have to look up the specs. I think let me go look on. You can just get these things on Amazon. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it, because I get ready to go here because it's been over an hour.
Yeah, and
maybe we can get together and you can do a show on this.
Well, I'm not an expert on it. I just ran into it because my buddies were interested on it. And then there's always these things. We always love these.
And that's the turbine.
Yeah, well, this it can be a turbine. This is better as a pump. It's got. Yeah, it's all good to go. Good to roll.
And you did that with your
3D printed.
Okay, you definitely come back for a show and show us it all.
Well, I've showed it a few times, and I've been working with Jeremiah Ferwerda from iEnergy Supply. You probably talked or heard about him a couple times. He's got a lot of really good news coming up this summer. So just check out his what is it called? Donation page, because he keeps his updates there for for all that stuff. So he's got some good stuff coming up. That's all I can
Patreon?
say. Patreon, thank you. Yeah, Patreon.
Hey, well,
Nice.
anyway, I like to get going here because it's been a long night, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks
no
for letting me
worries,
jump in and
Steve,
screw
and
everything up for you.
Sorry for your loss with Bones, brother.
And there's old Bones, you know, my buddy.
That's a good boy.
Not anymore.
It doesn't matter. He's always a good boy. Doesn't
All
matter.
dogs
He's
go
always
to
a good
heaven.
boy.
I guess God needed him more than him. Maybe he's escorting the new Pope around, you know, up there. Yeah.
Probably.
Pope Channel up there, you know.
Yep.
So we had a good dog, you know. And he never barked, you know, a lot. He only barked like when someone knocked on the door and made sure you knew it. And if he felt threatened, other than that, you know, he's a pretty quiet dog. You know.
Well,
When he
look
got
for that
excited
good
about
boy.
going outside, you know. But yeah. So anyway, I'd like to encourage everyone to sign up for next for our conference. You know, it's going to be 30% off still this week. You know, and 5% extra 5% bring so much. That's 35%. Kids are free, and the hotel rooms are good. Just go to TeslaTech.info, and I'll see y'all next week. God willing. That's one thing he taught me is that you never know when you're going to go. And
Hey, you got many years left, and you better at least make it past August there, Steve. Come on.
hey, it's all set up now. So right now it's almost on cruise control at this point. It can go on autopilot, but got a few more things I want to do. But yeah, y'all have a great time, and I hope I'll see y'all next week.